Hey guys, this is Take from bigheadtaco.com and welcome to my studio. I'm about to do a unboxing video of the brand new Fujifilm XF 16mm f2.8 RWR. Now, I would consider this as part of the Fujicron lineup, although the term Fujicron came from, of course, Summicron, which is f2 lenses on the Leica system. But in terms of the spirit of this lens, with the other 23 f2, 35 f2, the 50 f2, and now the 16mm, it would have been nice if it was f2, but we'll see what they can do with the 2.8 in terms of size and weight for that compromise. But let's start an unboxing now. Alright, so I did insist on a brand new copy, new in box. It does have the editor sample, so no one else has touched it. That is one of the reasons why I didn't get one earlier than the rest, and there was very few pre-production copies out there, so sorry for the delay, guys. I will make it worth your while though, because I am going to be taking this on a upcoming trip. But this is so light, it actually feels like there's no lens in here. That's how light this is. So let's look inside here. You get that really nice Fujifilm, the little sleeve they give you, a lens pouch. And this is really nice. Not only is it kind of a microfiber cleaning, but it's a nice way to store your lenses in transport if you already have kind of a compartment type system for storing your lenses in your camera bag. And gives you, oh, look at that. They put the 50 f2 and the 16 f2.8 on the same owner's manual, again showing that the spirit of this should say Fujicron, but it says Fujinon, in the spirit of the f2 compact, light, newest technology when it comes to autofocus motor, but not image stabilized. And so this is what it looks like in the box, guys. Again, as I mentioned, it feels so light that it just feels like there's no lens in here. This lens hood is, let's just open this up. You can tell this has never been opened before. Nice kind of the tulip, the flower type lens hood here. And that works well because of course this is a ultra wide or wide angle lens. And this is the lens here. Wow, it is quite compact. And there's nothing else to the box. So I'm gonna just put this down here and just put the box away. But here we go. This is the lens here. It is uber light. It definitely feels just like all the other Fujicron lenses. I do wish when you get to f2.8, I wish there was a little bit of a give to make it feel like it, like, you know, when it stops here like that, sometimes it feels like it's not fully engaged at 2.8. And I find that with all the Fujicron lenses. I wish even if it didn't go less than 2.8, it's hard to explain the feeling, but it's kind of like even with that AA, you can kind of pull a little bit and it's very clear you're an A, right? And at f22, you know, you can go either way, and all these apertures go either way, but at f2 it kind of comes to a dead stop there. It's a little thing, it's just a little feel thing. When you go all the way to 2.8, at least you know you're 2.8, but I wish there was a little bit of a bounce back when you get to 2.8. Small little criticism, it is a 49mm filter thread, so the 50 f2 I think was a 46, was it not? And the 23 and the 35 f2 is a 43. So none of the Fujicron filter sizes are the same. It's kind of all over the place, and that's the one thing that I really like about the Leicas. They keep the same diameter so that it's consistent across the board, and that would have been nice if this was at least the same as the. There's a little bit of dust there. Let me just dust that off here. There you go. At least the same as the 50 f2. I think that would be nice. And here's the lens hood, and the whole package is quite compact. Now I'll take that hood off and compare it with the smallest and lightest up to this point of the Fujicrons was the 35 f2. It was smaller than the 23 f2. And you know, looking at this, they look pretty much identical. 35 f2 and the 16 f2.8. They're about identical in terms of the height, diameter. Even though the filter threads are different in terms of diameter, they feel similar. If anything, the 16 f2.8 is a little bit larger in diameter, but not much more. I don't think you're going to really feel it. And in terms of weight, let me just switch my hands here. In terms of weight, again, they feel very similar. If I had to guess which one was heavier, maybe the 16 f2.8, but not much heavier. Pretty much the same. Let's just say if you have a 35 f2, you're gonna kind of know what the 16 f2.8 is gonna feel in your hand. And I do have here the brand new XT30, and I'm gonna put this lens onto the XT30. So this is the XT30 with the brand new 16 f2.8 Fujifilm lens here, and man alive, that is compact. It's a nice compact size, and if you're used to shooting in the 16mm or in full frame equivalent, it is a 24mm prime lens f2.8. But again, if you're going to do the equivalent in terms of the f-stop, it's close to f4 in terms of depth of field. But at 16mm, I mean, you want shallow depth of field. You get the Fujilux, the 16mm f1.4. Get that lens. But this lens is not about comparing with the 16-1.4. Completely different needs, different type of photographers with different needs. And I think this matches really well with the XT30 if you like shooting with the with this field of view. And just so you know, I do like the 16mm field of view. It's the 24mm equivalent. Is right here. I have a Minolta MD Rocore. Can you see that? f2.8 24mm. So I own the prime lens equivalent in 35mm. And here's my beloved Minolta XD. And so this is my Minolta XD with the 24, and I love shooting with this combination here. And if you look at these two, look how similar in terms of even size and shape. And even when I did my the XT30, I did take, maybe I'll embed a picture here, but I did take pictures of the XT30 next to my XD just because they are so similar. And so here we go, a full frame 24 f2.8, and here's an APS-C 24mm equivalent prime lens f2.8. That's very, very similar. And another thing is here we go. Here is my Minolta autofocus lenses, and what do you see here? The Maxim AF 24mm. Yes, that's right, f2.8. So even when I moved on to autofocus, so I did start off on manual focus SLRs, and when I moved to autofocus, this is my beloved Minolta 9XI. And if I can just do a little bit of a name drop or sort of talk about this camera, back in 1992 when this camera came out, it's a pro body, so there's no pop-up flash on here. It had a 1/12,000th of a second top shutter speed. 1/12,000th of a second mechanical shutter speed, and a 1/300th of a second flash sync. And even to this day, even with digital SLRs, no mechanical shutter speed has gone to 1/12,000th of a second. And just to show you guys here, let's just go, if you can see that there, let's just go 1/3000, 1/4000, 1/6000, 1/12,000th of a second shutter speed. But this was, so you could see here, I shot with this field of view 24mm equivalent back in the film days. I think this is a fantastic field of view if you are shooting street, landscape, if you are used to shooting wide angle. And I think when you shoot street, you tend to, like, you start off with, say, a 50-35, and as you get better, or maybe not necessarily better, but as your shooting style, maybe if I can use the term mature, I find that people want to get closer to the subject, and then the narrower field of view, it actually kind of gets in your way. So having something at a 24mm equivalent really helps you to get closer to your subject. It pulls your background further away from your subject. It pulls them out, and with that, you can get these really dynamic, layered street photography with a ultra wide lens. And the biggest issue I had, if you look for my video with the 16-1.4s, I love the field of view. As you can see, I own prime. I feel like the angry photographer, how he whips out some of his older lenses and cameras. Say, hey, how's it going, Ken? So just so you know, like I had a 24-2.8 manual focus and then a 24-2.8 autofocus. So I do love this field of view. And then when I bought my Panasonic LX3, that had like an equivalent of a 24-65 zoom. And I would always shoot at 24 and shoot at 16:9 aspect ratio because I like that cinematic view. And so me having this, me being excited about this lens, I'm not kidding. I was really looking forward to it because I don't mind stopping down. I haven't tested this lens, but I know a lot of other reviewers, and Ken also on his YouTube channel, he talked about it's a little soft at 2.8 and focus close. And that's one of the big things is when you do close focus, f2.8, the 23 f2 has the same problem, is that f2 close up, it's very soft. But when you stop it down to f4, 5.6, it's fine. This one here, same thing, probably at minimum focus at 5.6, it'll be sharp. But for me, when you're shooting at medium focus distance, so for this lens, maybe 6 feet and out, even at f2.8, and I'll test this, I'm sure it'll be reasonably sharp, and I'll be happy with the sharpness of this lens. And so that's it. That's a pretty quick unboxing. Again, it's part of the new Fujicron lenses. This is the 35 f2, was at the time the smallest, lightest, most compact of the Fujicrons, and now this has joined its ranks in being one of these two, small, light, compact. And in terms of price point, this is I think it's about 400 US, and so I don't know how much that'll be Canadian, but price-wise too, having a prime lens of this size, having super fast autofocus, and putting this to linear focus, if you're shooting video, you could probably shoot video with this handheld with manual focus. It's a nice tight focus ring here, or if you rely on autofocus on something like the XT30 or the T3, autofocus will be spectacular on this. So I'm looking forward to shooting with this lens with an upcoming project I have overseas, and I'll announce that on a separate video. But until then, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and happy shooting.